Your time management is going to dictate the growth of your company, especially in the very beginning. What's up, guys? I wanted to talk about this conversation I was having with a couple who started a roofing company pretty recently, over the last like 6 months or so. They were needing some help, guidance on what's going on, what are the moves they gotta make, stuff like that. And they took out a loan, and these guys are investing in multiple different things, right? They're trying to get some branding, some SEO, digital marketing agency they got. Then they were looking into, like some softwares for quotes and stuff like that. Some of the conversations about that, and without much delay, we got into talking a lot about what else they're doing. They were telling me how they spent awake until midnight doing like estimates and checking out these softwares on how to exactimate and all this kind of stuff. They're making SOPs on how to run the sales process from this course that they bought on how to sell roofs. All this kind of stuff is going on, and it just hit me that I need to ask them, what does their time schedule look like? What are they doing during the day? And again, I'm not telling anybody how to run their roofing company, right? I'm also somebody who sits behind the computer. But I do talk to enough roofers to know that when you're starting out, you are the company. So if most of your time is going into building SOPs for future employees, which you don't have, this company in particular is doing less than one roof a week, right? They're barely in business. So in that time, the thing I told them is that you should be just door knocking. You should be just spending most of your time generating business, at least in the prime hours of the day. I know from other markets, if you're door knocking, it's the evening. That's when the homeowners are home. Unless you do it in the weekends, then you can, I guess, do it in the early, mornings and stuff. But most times in the weekdays, you should be spending 3 to 4 hours purely door knocking from let's say 4 p.m. until sundown. That's one thing that we have to block out. The other thing could be all those other stuff that you're doing could be done in late evenings or very early mornings. The point is, if you're starting out and you're hoping that some social media strategy or some place where you're just gonna throw some money and it's gonna make everything easy and work out, it ain't so. It's very unlikely that your first company, especially agency that you hire, is gonna be the one that knocks things out of the park. And even if it was, you are very unlikely to have the business hygiene, all the nuances, right? Skills that goes into going into and breaking the ice with the customer, making them feel comfortable, getting on the roof without making them feel pushy. Once you come back, presenting that information, the sales, everything that goes into it, your skills are probably not there. So what you want to do is, before you start spending money on marketing, you want to get as many bats under your belt, roof sales, right? It's not about the money, it's the skill that you develop so you can then use higher leverage. Now you can use money to get whatever it is, whatever your strategy you're going to use, give the strategy the benefit of the doubt and give all the skill it requires to make it possibly successful. The way they were going about it is completely backwards, right? That's one thing in of itself. The second thing, and I guess this would be more important, is that mindset wise, if you're doing under 3 roofs a week, most of your time and energy should be hunting more roofs, right? Whether this is door knocking, whether this is cold calling, whatever it is. I would actually pick something that is your own energy so that you can have less stress and not giving out money that you don't have to try to hope that something works out. I would use that and almost use it like a reward system. Hey, I'm doing this temporarily. As soon as I'm good enough, whatever it is, choose a metric. As soon as I'm decent enough to be in the top 10% of salespeople, you're the owner of the company. You should be able to accomplish this. If you can't get decently good at one of the core skills of the business, it's unlikely that you're gonna, be great at other parts of the business. If that makes sense, right? Sales is a core skill needed. So if you can't sell, it's unlikely that you're gonna be just amazing at managing jobs so efficiently and hiring people so well. You're gonna be the best manager the world has ever seen because you're just such a genius or something you see what I mean? It's unlikely. So keep the mindset where I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna door knock myself, get this skill, and as soon as I'm good enough and I'm closing certain percentage that is reasonable, then I'm gonna use some of the money that I have to then buy my time back. Right? Still get myself in front of more homeowners, but this time I'm not spending a lot of time knocking doors. It's just getting scheduled appointments on my calendar so I can be higher leverage and close more deals. I can go from 2-3 jobs to a job a day. A lot of roofers do that, where they're just more like a racehorse. They're just running 3-5 appointments a day, closing basically a roof a day, pretty much 6 days a week. And they have their back end take care of everything else, right? Literally, like, their job is so the owner has to do nothing. I'm not saying that's the structure to go for, but many people do low digit millions, right? 1 to 2 million, relatively easy. There's many people who do that in that structure that I just said. A lot of times just with a receptionist. You can be very lean and have that structure. But I'm mentioning that structure to shift the mindset that if you're early on, you should really look into spending most of your time hunting for business. And until you can do that very, very well, so much that you are bored of it, I don't actually recommend spending too much money on generating leads and business. Get that skill first.